How's it going, everybody? My name is Brian Schrader. Yesterday I showed you how to uh, do basic flocking on a decoy. So today I'm coming back with the how you start of airbrushing. So right now we're making Harlequins. The main things that you're going to need for this portion is obviously an airbrush and compressor. I'll take a second to talk about what you want in an airbrush and a compressor. I started out with the Harbor Freight special. Had the compressor had the pressure regulator on it. The cheap brush, and it worked just fine to start off with. You know, it had some clogging issues, and I ended up spending a lot of time cleaning it, and it just kind of slowed me down. It didn't make a really consistent product, because as it clogged up, my lines would change. I'd have to change the distance from where I was off the decoy, and then sometimes it would unclog, and I'd shoot a bunch of paint where I didn't want it. It was kind of a pain in the butt. So I ended up changing over to, I was hunting on eBay for a while for a good brush, and I ended up winning a bunch of them in an auction. I ended up with 4 different high-end brushes, and I got them for insanely cheap. So I'll go over the quick differences of the brushes with you. Just try and make it quick, because this is where it's important, and what you want to look for as for a airbrush. So the one that you're gonna want to start off with it's called a dual action gravity fed airbrush. So the dual action is where you can press down, that gives you your air, and then pull back, that gives you your paint. So, and then the gravity fed it's gravity fed, and the other part I missed was internally mixed. So the internally mixed is the air and paint get mixed right here in the tip of the gun. There's other ones that are externally mixed, where the paint will spray out or come out slowly, and the air will come across it and spray. A lot of makeup artists use that. Why, I have no idea. So this brush right here is a Snap-on BF 105, and this is my go-to brush. I just really like it. I can do a bunch of stuff with it. Really fine lines to being able to beat paint and cover a lot of area if I need to. It's set up with a 0.5 millimeter tip in it, and the smaller the tip, so like 0.25, you're going to be able to detail a lot more, get those really fine lines. With decoy making, I haven't come across the reason for needing it that small, because you can get in real tight with this, and as long as you can control your paint, you can put these really fine detail lines in there. The other one that you should be interested in looking for is a dual action. So again, push down for air, pull back for paint. Internally mixed, siphon fed. So it comes across like this. So the nice thing about this is that you can, if you have to start and stop a lot, you can leave your paint in here and not have to worry about it getting shit in there and drying it up or whatever. This brush is the Badger 155 Anthem. It's also a really nice brush. Both those brushes you're looking at, these are right around $200, $250 in cost. I have each one of these brushes set up to do different things. This one's got a finer tip on it for the detailing work, and then I also, if I'm doing a ton of brush work, I'll switch the tip out and fill this up with a bunch of paint, and that way I don't have to sit here and mix my paint. The other brush I got, and this is just one of those really fancy ones. This is a Passetti Talon. Just a really nice brush. I mean, this thing, I can't say enough about it. It's easy to clean. Really, really nice brush. Dual action, gravity fed, internally mixed. So that's what you want as a beginner. Just the other thing with cheaper brushes is, like I was saying, they're harder to clean. There's a lot more parts to it. With these higher end brushes, the tips come apart in 3 pieces. You can clean them real well and you don't have to pull the needle out. It just makes it a lot easier. The other part of this is your paint. So your paint, there's a few different things to watch out for. You got water-based and solvent-based paints. Water-based paints tend to clean easier, or not clean easier, spray easier, I should say. And a lot of them come pre-mixed. There's a lot of brands out there that are great. I went to over here on the West Coast. We got Michael's and Hobby Lobby. I don't know what the rest of you guys have, but so that is. I usually use solvent-based paints. I found that it sprays more consistently, and it's less cleaning, less clogging from my gun. So a lot of times it's self-cleaning when you shoot it. The downside is that you need ventilation, and you should wear a mask. For this, I'm not going to wear a mask, just so you guys can, so I can talk to you guys and you can understand what I'm doing. I use the ones the colors I like to use the Createx Wicked colors. These don't come pre-mixed. You can mix them yourself. So the nice thing about that is, your paint's going to spray different for like different temperatures. So if you're colder, the paint's going to be thicker and a little harder to spray. So you're going to have to get some high performance reducer and reduce it down and just see how you get it to spray. And once you get it the way you want it, shoot it on your decoy. Right now it's kind of cold, so I've been using my testers a little bit more, and it's still kind of thin. So I'll put a couple drops of the Wicked colors in there and mix it up in the gun, and it sprays really nice. So that's about it for the what you're looking for. I mean, there's a time I could talk airbrushing for a long time, but it's one of those. This is the part where a lot of people get intimidated. Don't be intimidated. You're gonna get your decoys. You're gonna mess up. Just keep practicing. I mean, they're your decoys. Just have fun with it. Doesn't got to be a masterpiece right off the bat. Just keep with it and you'll get better at it. So at the Harlequin, I started off with white paint. I usually start off when I'm painting. I'll start off with my lightest colors and work my way to the darkest colors, and I usually always end with black. Whatever details I need to jam in with black, I usually save till last, because I use black to shadow with a lot of it. So on those, you saw those mallards, how they looked really cool. And that's how you get your shadowing down, and it really makes your decoys come to life. But so to test out my brush, when you're starting off, you want to pull lines just like that bottom one. And that's basically what I was doing, was figuring out where my brush needs to be to pull a nice line. And that's just something you're gonna have to play with. You can do it on the table, you can do it wherever you want, wherever you feel comfortable. But so I'll just get to it. So when I'm brushing, you guys are gonna have kind of a hard time seeing exactly what I'm doing, just because I don't have good cameras. I'm gonna try to do it backwards. All right. So with Harlequin, I usually start off with it on the head, and I'll get my outline going. Start off with a nice light outline and work your way out to what you want. And it's gonna be a little rough at first, but you get in close, you start with your tight lines and barely spray any paint, and that'll give you your fine lines to work off of. And then work your way out. Sorry guys, I'm having a tough time sitting there like that, but try and get. And then once you get your outline, when you're pounding in the paint to make it fill in the gaps and make it more consistent, you actually want to be off the decoy a little bit. So the closer you get, the finer your lines are going to be, but that doesn't mean that it's going to pound enough paint into where the area you want it to be. So if you pull it off a little bit, and you'll use that for shading also, but you pull it off and then just pound your paint into where you want it. Boom. So that's how you start it off. You'll go through and just work your way through the decoy. I usually do one side at a time, and do one color at a time all the way through your decoys. So I'll just keep pounding this in and keep rambling, and I'll switch colors. This is kind of where it gets a little bit boring because it's hard to show you exactly what I'm doing. I can't show you how far to pull your gun back, shoot your paint, because I don't have your paint gun. But this is where, this basically I'm just going to show you how it can turn out. But also when I'm making my decoys, I'll pull up a picture of an actual bird when I'm painting, and that'll kind of give you, where to put your lines. You use body part references like Harlequin. Their eye patch comes down below their eye. Their circle is, centered behind their eye about an inch or so. It just makes it more realistic. I mean, that's just what I do. You guys, man, it's going to be your decoy, so you can do what you want with it. Be patient with it and go slow, and you'll turn out with a good product. Doing lots of circles and making C's and pulling, a lot of what you're doing is variants of making a circle with a brush. You start out with a small circle and work your way out, and it'll become a big half moon like this, and then you just make a C and then a C on the outside, connect them, and then fill in the middle, and you got your eye patch. So that's just maybe that'll help you out a little bit better. But and when you're doing your white, it's okay to have a little bit of overspray outside of your lines, because at least with Harlequin, you can come out and when you come around it with black, you can clean up the edges a little bit. So like I kind of blew out the line on this one a little bit, just the angle I had it, but not too worried about it because it's gonna get fixed later anyway. So all right, I'll just keep on going. So yeah, I'm just gonna run through it and kind of make one for you guys real quick and show you how it turns out. Yeah, this is this is there's not a lot of dialogue from this point forward. But yeah, anyway, I'll run through it really quick and you guys can see how it's done. So white's one of the hardest colors to get correct and get banged in to make it pop. It's just you got to go over it 3 or 4 times to really make it come out, and you'll be able to see it a lot better. And then also when you're doing both sides, I try and make it as close to the same on both sides as possible. Yeah. The other thing I like to do is I like to pick, when I'm working on a certain decoy, I'll pick my lines where I want to put specific details and how I want to do it. Because each decoy has kind of a reference point where you can put a detail and it looks natural, and make it look real. But and it's not always the same on every decoy, which is a good thing, because not every duck in the wild is the same, and you're going for realism. That's the whole point of flocking. So yeah, you just pound your colors in like that. Make sure you leave a little space for the next one. Boom. Gotta hit them up again. There's a little bit of light spots in the white. So that's where making these circles come in handy. And when you're filling it in, you get further away from the decoy, that paint will stick to the surface a lot better of the flocking, so you're not pounding all that paint down into the plastic, and it won't show up right. That's like the difference between these two. You see how one's, you're gonna have a tough time seeing it, but one's wider than the other one, and that was because the paint on one went down to the plastic as opposed to stayed on the flocking. And that the reason for that is you're too close with the amount of paint that you're spraying. That's where you got to kind of dial it in. So if you want to lay down a lot of paint, you actually want to be further away from the decoy. But also keep in mind that the further away you are, the bigger your line that you're spraying is going to be. So you got to kind of find that happy medium. And again, overspray on the whites is okay if you're going to come back over it with black or outline it in some way. So yeah, the basic Harlequin right now. Let me see if I can knock this out, the rest of this out really quick. Little details on the back. And they got a little circle towards their tail. Pound that in. Pound that in. Boom. Basic Harlequin. The white part. The next part, for part 3, since this is already 20 minutes long, I'm going to do the orange. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to knock out the other 6 decoys, change colors, come back, do orange.